Marsabit County is a rain-deficient county that largely relies on rain-dependent water systems. Only a tiny percentage of the population has access to piped water. A huge part of the pastoralist population and their livestock rely on boreholes, ponds, and shallow wells for the precious commodity, but frequent droughts coupled with the effects of climate change are resulting in decreasing amounts of available water sources in the region. Currently, the town's water comes from a spring located within Marsabit National Park, but it has almost dried up due to degradation of the forest. But as NTV's Rose Wangoi tells us, there is respite for the residents as the national government embarks on a project to expand the main water source.
The hills stand as majestically as they have for years, but now their beauty enhanced by a modern road that cuts through the valleys here, signaling the ending of decades of marginalization for the people of Marsabit County. Those years of little to no economic growth fast replaced by a thriving economy found by the opening up of the region by the construction of the Trans-Africa Highway that now links Kenya to Ethiopia. This 500-kilometer Isiolo-Marsabit-Moyale road has made it easier to move people and their goods. And the landscape of Marsabit town, a thriving commercial center, is fast changing, with the new buildings and petrol stations an indication of the county's ongoing transformation. But in the midst of this seemingly blossoming town is a problem that won't just go away. Acute water shortages. So dire is the situation that people can go for days without seeing a drop during drought. A first-time visitor to Marsabit town might be surprised at the frequent sights of large numbers of people crowding at a water dispensing point with jerrycans. Loud disagreements at the order of the day here. Women take up to 8 hours to get their rations of 5 20-liter jerrycans that will serve their families for a week.
Tulikuja kitu saa 10 ya usiku. Ukiniona hata sijaosha uso, sijakula breakfast.
Kila siku taabu wetu ni hii tu. Kina mama wako na shida sana. Sasa wengine kwa na watoto, wengine kwa na mimba. Angekuwa na fereji hatuwezi hata kuja hapa kutegemea hii maji.
Nimekuja saa 10:30 na pengine nitatoka saa 12 kwa sababu unaona line vile iko.
A household consumes at least 100 liters of water per day.
Nisipopata hii maji ya shilingi 5, alafu nalipa tukutuku shilingi 10 nipelekea kwa nyumba, ninanunua maji mtungi moja shilingi 50. Of which it is very costly. Mtungi moja haiwezi kukusaidia kwa nyumba. Unatumia like mtungi 4 kwa siku ndio upate kuistahimili familia yako.
Naitwa Mohamed Ibrahim. Mimi niko na watoto 9. Water even for drinking at some level is a problem. Leave alone for washing. Ukienda chooni unahitaji maji. Me as a Muslim, I need to pray 5 times a day. Na kuna maji. Marsabit mchanga ni nyekundu. Unaweza vaa asubuhi, ikifika jioni unakaa mchafu sawa umevaa nguo wiki moja mzima. I've got 3 full heap of clothes which are very dirty, and I've given up hope. I may burn them actually. I may not use it because water is not there. It's very painful. As a father, it's very challenging. Kuna wakati kwa ajili ya shida ya maji, I disappear from my home very early in the morning, pretending that I'm looking for water. Narudi hata sijapata maji. We have one kiosk that has been put up here, but even that one, close to a year or so, it's not operational.
Some 7 kilometers outside Marsabit town in Saku constituency, past the edge of the forest, the dried-up dreams of Badasa Dam paints a bleak picture. In 2009, construction work on the 3 billion shillings dam began with an expected holding capacity of 5 million cubic meters of water. This dam was meant to end the perennial water problems of Marsabit. Those streams have now dried up. With the stalling of construction works here 4 years ago, in place of the envisioned Badasa Dam stands an unfinished concrete tower around it. Badasa Mega Dam project was meant to offer a tangible solution to the protracted misery and frustration the people of Marsabit have had to contend with. But all there is from the dam project is a large and complete earthen embankment in Marsabit forest.
We were so optimistic. We thought we were going to live like any other Kenyan. Tunaamka asubuhi, you take your shower, your children take shower. It's quite a long time. That project has not yielded anything.
The contractor, when he was trying to put up those facilities, met a lot of challenges. There are faults, there are fissures in the rocks. He had to fill this. The only thing the contractor could not do is the dam wall, which is supposed to hold rainwater for storage. He didn't do that because of those challenges, and probably because of the incompetency, because that work is not a small work. The government have appointed a new consulting engineers. They are reviewing the design, and they will come up with a solution. And once that is done, then the national government is ready to fund it again.
Marsabit gets little rain even in a normal year. However, the rains have never been gone for as long as they have this time round. With not a drop for the last 8 or so months, according to the local community, life has become tough. Most water pans have dried up. The surviving ones have become battle zones where human beings, goats, cattle, camels and wildlife struggle to quench their thirst. This is Parakishon village. The water pan serves hundreds of residents. To an outsider, the sight of the water is disturbing, and yet this is where area residents gather daily to draw some of the precious commodity for domestic use, including cooking. The quality of water does not matter anymore.
Mali yote unakunya ng'ombe, mbuzi, ngamia, hata wanyama ile ya ndani ya forest unakunya. Tupigia hata chakula. Maji safi ndio kombali. Ile akona pesa unanunua na ile hakuna pesa unakunya hii.
Parkishon, yes, there's our water pan which is not very clean. We bought them plastic tanks which through which they can now harness clean water from the roofs. At the same time, we are also doing water tracking.
NTV first took the pictures in February 2019. 8 months down the line, the water pan has dried up, courtesy of the unforgiving sun. The cracked earth tells it all.
Marsabit is deprived of permanent rivers, major springs. The only thing we have is during the rain season. That is when we harvest flood waters in forms of construction of water pans, dams, rock catchments.
These sources quickly dry up with the onset of the dry season, and the population has to rely on a limited number of high-yielding boreholes, often an average distance of about 30 kilometers away. The Marsabit National Park is an oasis of green in this arid desert region of Kenya. Marsabit's biggest attraction is its national park, with lush cloud forest that dot the mountain and its surroundings. It has many interesting geological features. The densely forested mountain has 3 crater lakes that provide a haven for a variety of birdlife, mammals and reptiles. Lake Paradise is a spectacular crater lake in the heart of Marsabit National Park. The lake, which lies on its peak to the foothills of rugged grandeur that fan out from its volcanic tips. The dense mountain forests are also home to elephants, famous for their huge tusks. The park is an important water tower for Marsabit town and connected landscapes. Bakuli Springs has been the only primary existing water source for Marsabit town since it was constructed in the early 1970s. Currently, the town's water comes from Bakuli Spring, whose discharge is not constant and is on the decline due to human activity in the catchment area. The capacity of water discharge from the dam changes depending with the season. During rainy season, it ranges from 9 to 11 liters per second. As of July, because of drought, the flow had reduced by over 80%. The rains in the past few years have not been adequate for the area surrounded by desert. When NTV visited Lake Paradise in February 2019, the lake was intact, but by July, the jewel of the north had dried up due to the prolonged drought coupled with the effects of climate change. The degradation of the park's lakes has been blamed on a number of issues, key amongst them the increase in the number of boreholes dug around the area that drain the lake waters. This, coupled with unabated deforestation in the park, leaves little water to sustain the levels in the lakes.
Once you allow them, they also move in with the hundreds of their livestock. You know, they get it into the forest. On the process, they even cut down the trees, you know, live trees. They go as far as Bakuli, the source for this town. And the other day, there were over 1,000 animals there. The KWS has to use force to get those animals from the forest. So these challenges are there.
If this forest is not conserved, then there will be no life in Marsabit County. Apart from Bakuli, other water sources for the communities in the downstreams also come from this forest. So it is a very important conservation area. We are fencing off some portions of this forest to mitigate cases of human-wildlife conflict, especially elephants. We've had cases of wildlife getting to people's farms, causing a lot of distractions.
Bakuli 1 was constructed in 1950s with the sole aim of storing water in extreme droughts when flows of Bakuli Spring are low. While Bakuli 2, which is located downstream of Bakuli 1 and 3, was constructed in 1995. The dam has similar dimensions to Bakuli 1. Water is opened from Bakuli 1 to 3 before it is pumped to Marsabit treatment plant. Bakuli 3 concrete dam with a capacity of about 60,000 cubic meters was constructed between 2008 and 2011. Because the population has grown and the mountain's ecosystem degraded, the supply has not been enough for the town. To address the acute water shortage in the county, construction of the 1.8 billion shillings Marsabit town water and sewerage system and the expansion of the Bakuli reservoir is on course. The mega project, which is underway, was funded by the national government and is being implemented by a Chinese firm.
We know Bakuli Dam is situated within an area protected by both KFS and KWS. So environmental concerns become key as regards both human and wildlife. We are planning to plant trees on about 10 hectares of land.
The project is expected to enhance Bakuli's main water source capacity from the current estimated 90,000 cubic meters to 360,000 cubic meters, hence increase water supply to the town and its surrounding. According to the Northern Waterworks Development Agency, the project will increase the height of Bakuli 3's dam wall from the current 10 meters to 20 meters in order to increase water storage capacity at the main source.
The pumping system which were installed there more than 20 years ago have not been refurbished. So the amount of water we pump from Bakuli, very little would reach our treatment facility here because of the pipe network also in the forest. Which has deteriorated, a lot of burst, a lot of leakages. You know, once it rains in this forest, there's a lot of rain, and most of that water goes to waste. So we are saying, why don't you expand Bakuli, trap more water, and give it to this town?
We'll only be able to meet 30% of the current demand of the water, though it will be an improvement from about 10%.
The construction of the sewerage treatment plant is already underway at Jirme area in the outskirts of Marsabit town.
This is the first sewerage plant for this region. Here now in Jirme is designed to treat 3,300 cubic meters of wastewater per day. The one at Dakabaricha is designed to treat 2,300 cubic meters of wastewater per day. People will stop using things like septic tank, which we call on-site disposal of sewer, which means whatever amounts could have been used for constructing the septic tank can be put to other more economic benefits. Secondly, it provides a safe way of conveying wastewater and treating it so that we also avoid what we call waterborne diseases. There's a danger in wastewater and clear water mixing.
The project, which started in 2018, is expected to be complete by April 2020, and with its completion, residents hope that the perennial water scarcity will be relegated to history books. Ruzongwe, NTV.